effect. So Overhauser was a very famous nuclear physicist who first came up with this understanding that how one irradiation of one nucleus can be affecting the other nucleus. So before getting to the effect, let's first understand what we're trying to figure out. तो ये जो पोर्शन है हम पढ़ा तो रहे हैं पाविया से, बट देन पाविया में बहुत वर्ड्स लिखा हुआ है एंड यू माइट बी कंफ्यूज्ड. आई हैड रिटन यू अर्लियर एज वेल दैट इफ यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड ऑन योर ओन यू कैन the book. एक बार मैं इसमें what we are trying to do is we are decoupling the proton nuclei from the carbon 13 nuclei. So in doing so, the proton nuclei का decoupling का major understanding ये है कि that the ground state and the excited state is equally populated. So there is no extra nuclei present in the ground state, because of which we can see our resonance. So if you are considering that all the nuclei are balanced in the two states, at any particular time the number of nuclei getting excited and the number of nuclei getting relaxed is balanced. So we cannot be identifying any proton or carbon का relation जो है it is 4 times. Proton is 4 times as that to carbon. तो NOE max कितना आएगा यहाँ पे 2 आएगा. Okay, so gamma irradiated is 4, so gamma observed is 1. That is the ratio between the two. 4 is to 1 divided by 2, that gives you 2. So maximum you can see a doubling, that is the max. But there can be loading from that as why there may be loading. So this particular increment helps in seeing the carbon nuclei in a 13C spectrum. We already know that carbon nuclei has two difficulties. One, that it is the less abundant nucleus. Okay, so we the population of the spin active nuclei in a particular solution is very low. Two, the gyromagnetic ratio is also less. So the number of resonating protons in a particular magnetic field becomes very low. So in most of the cases, we'll see very small peaks. So the one possibility of increasing the intensity of the carbon 13 nuclei is you just have to rely on the decoupling of the protons. So we, in general, we prefer the proton decoupled NMR of carbon. So what is a carbon? When the protons being arranged equally into the ground state and the excited state, the carbon 13 is sitting in the environment or in the medium, and it is also trying to arrange itself. How is it going to arrange itself? So the resonating frequencies of the carbon, the intensity of these resonating carbons are directly related to the number of proton which is closer to it. तो इसका मतलब है एक कार्बन जो 3 हाइड्रोजन के साथ लिंक्ड है वो सबसे ज्यादा इंटेंसिटी दिखाएगा, और जो कार्बन जिसके कोई भी प्रोटॉन नहीं है आसपास में वो सबसे कम इंटेंसिटी दिखाएगा. सो दिस गिव्स द एग्जैक्ट ऑर्डर ऑफ द इंटेंसिटीज. ठीक है. सो मोस्टली द क्वाटरनरी कार्बन, मान लो कि एक कीटोन का कार्बन है, C डबल बॉन्ड O और कार्बन में दो अल्काइल ग्रुप अटैच्ड है, साइक्लोहेक्सानोन में कार्बन. So these ketones typically come around 170, 180 ppm. So you will see that that particular peak is the smallest in the entire sequence. Okay. So the effect not only is dependent on the protons which are attached to it, it is a distance based through space interaction. So this, if R is considered the distance between the carbon and the hydrogen, then the NOE is a function of 1 by R cubed. So जितना डिस्टेंस बढ़ता जाएगा ये कार्बन और हाइड्रोजन के बीच में, ये डिस्टेंस जितना बढ़ता जाएगा उतना ये बढ़ता जाएगा बॉन्ड. Okay. This is a through space phenomena. It is not a through bond phenomena. If you remember, हम लोग कार्बन हाइड्रोजन 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 इनका ब्लू थ्रू बॉन्ड जो स्पिन स्पिन टॉकिंग है या इंटरेक्शन है, that we refer to as the coupling constant, the J value, and this is a through space phenomena. Now, the same thing is done in another spectroscopic method, which is called a two-dimensional NMR. The next day, we will be discussing the two-dimensional. So in the two-dimensional NMR, we use a proton irradiation, जहाँ पे हम read करेंगे the observed nucleus is another proton. Okay, it's not carbon. So एक proton अगर if you are having one proton in maybe the plane in the space above the plane, and if you have another proton in the same space, then if you irradiate this proton number 1, the proton number 2 will show an enhancement. But on the other hand, if this proton is on the opposite side of the plane, irradiation of this one will not show any effect on this, and there will be no enhancement. So you will see a 0 on the line. If it is on the same plane, you will see a positive increment, and if it is on the opposite direction, in the opposite plane, then the cyclohexane ring, and the cyclohexane may be having axial equatorial 2 protons or diaxial 2 protons. How do you understand which is what? Okay, so if you're having diaxial, then on irradiating this one, this is not going to show any enhancement because it is far away. It is not in the same space. But if you're having an axial and an equatorial one like this, see, there is a purpose why I have opened the video today. Okay, if you have this axial and equatorial like this, then there will be an interaction. So if you irradiate this one, this will get an enhancement. Is it clear for everybody? What? No responses.
Yes, ma'am. अगर same spin में है तो फिर enhancement आएगा.
अगर
Basically.
same spin में नहीं, अगर same spin है, that is a different experiment altogether. It is called NOE irradiation experiment, NOESY to be more specific. That you can do for a proton to a proton. It's not attached to the same carbon. It is not the one bond attachment. It is a 3 bond attachment, right? It is 1-3 relation. That is a NOESY spectroscopy that we'll talk about later on. Right now, what we are doing is just trying to see how the carbon on which a hydrogen which is attached directly, how that is going to affect. So there are 2 types of NOE. Confused nahi ho jana hai. One is for a proton and another proton. And the NOE effect, the nuclear Overhauser effect, is on the carbon atom because of the proton. ठीक है?
Okay.
Okay. So now, before we get into the energy, the splittings or the populations, let's first remind ourselves certain things we have been talking about since day 1 of NMR spectroscopy. First, the selection rule says for any nucleus, any electron spin transitions, there can be only one spin transition at one time. So it is a single quantum transition allowed. Okay. So if you are having 2 nuclei, both of them having spin in the plus half direction, you cannot at the same time invert both the nuclei minus half. This type of transition cannot take place. Okay. What can be done is you can do one by one. You can first put this in the opposite spin, go to a higher energy state, and then put the next one and go to the next higher energy state. Or you can start with this one, go to the next higher energy state, and go to the top the same higher energy state. Okay, it has to be one transition at one time. Depending on the transitions, depending on the energy level, the population is distributed. You remember the Boltzmann distribution of population, right? So population reduces. Ground state is the most populated state. Okay, when we are not irradiating anything, it is a normal nuclear condition. But when any atom or nucleus or electron gets excited, the reverse also comes back. It cannot always remain in the excited state. It has to relax down. So there are relaxation methods as well. Higher excited state से ground state में वापस आना है. But there is no quantum principle for that. It can directly jump because it is already activated. वो high energy में है. वो अगर एक ही टाइम पे पूरा एनर्जी अपना लूज कर देता है और ग्राउंड स्टेट में आ जाता है, that is still probable. Okay, so for relaxation methods, it can just come down from the highest excited state to the ground state in a single transformation, one step. Okay. At ground state, excited state is at equal population. And the only resonating nuclei in this condition is the 13C nucleus. Now see what is the populations. This particular thing is what normally जो class में पढ़ाने के time पे ये board में draw करके exactly this should be represented. ये book में सिर्फ first diagram दिया हुआ है. The second one is not given. You are supposed to understand it from reading the book. But anyways, I tried my level best to give you a more detailed picture ताकि इसमें थोड़ा सा तुम्हें पढ़ने से या देखने से immediately you understand what is going on. So these are the different energy levels. Can you, if you are seeing my screen, are you seeing this template as well? So radiation from what has happened is at the ground state, there are two nuclei. The purple one is the proton and this maroon one is the carbon. Okay? Now both the nuclei are in plus half. Correct? Now the left one is I have inverted the spin of the proton first, and the right one is I have inverted the spin of carbon first. The next step is trivial. In this case, it is carbon which gets inverted, and in this case, it is the proton which gets inverted. And so in the upper excited state, you have both opposite spins. Spin inversion has taken place for both the nuclei. Okay, so if I say that this N2 and N3 is almost similar with two nuclei resonating, two nuclei which are having one is plus half, the other is minus half. So this we can consider as the population B. This is the population. Okay. The N2 and N3 states have the same population of NB. अब ground state का population ज़्यादा होना है than B. जितना lower in energy उसका population ज़्यादा है, जितना ऊपर जाएगा उसका population कम है. So N1 has a higher population. Now that we say that the amount of increase or more, that is delta. So N1 has B plus delta. This is the energy level over here of B plus delta population. And N4 is B minus delta. Okay. वैसे तो हम प्रोटॉन का तो कंसिडर कर नहीं रहे हैं. So for all the cases, now we will be talking about the number of resonating carbon 13 nuclei. कितना कार्बन 13 आएगा? तो पॉपुलेशन डिफरेंस जितना होगा, कार्बन कहाँ पे ट्रांजिशन हो रहा था? N1 और N2 के बीच में. So N1 minus N2 becomes delta, and N3 minus N4, जहाँ again it is a carbon 13 transition. So this N3 minus N4 becomes again delta. So if there is no irradiation, the number of resonating nuclei for carbon is delta. Is it clear till here? Anybody जिसको ये part समझ में नहीं आया?
ओके अभी तक ठीक है.
अभी तक ठीक है. बाकी लोगों का कोई रिप्लाई नहीं है. वीडियो ऑन करके सो गए हैं सर. हाँ,
मैम ठीक है.
ठीक है अभी तक. Okay. Now let's come to the irradiation after the proton irradiation. So after proton irradiation, what has happened? प्रोटॉन को हमने सैचुरेट कर दिया, उसका कोई एक्साइटेशन रिलैक्सेशन कोई चीज हमको मायने नहीं लगता है. अच्छा, बाय द वे, इन दिस द फर्स्ट डायग्राम यू सी देयर इज अ रेड एरो व्हिच इज showing downward movement. This downward movement is nothing but the relaxation. So there can be a relaxation from directly from N4 to N1 to increase the population of N1 again. रिलैक्स होगा तब ना वो फिर से वापस ऊपर जाएगा, ऊपर से नीचे आएगा फिर नीचे से ऊपर जाएगा. इट्स अ कंटीन्यूअस साइकिल व्हिच गोस ऑन. सो फॉर प्रोटॉन ये साइकिल हम देख नहीं पाएंगे बिकॉज इट इज नो लॉन्गर ट्रांजिटिंग, रेजोनेटिंग. ओके, सो व्हाट हैज हैपेंड इज ये जो एनर्जी लेवल है, कार्बन और हाइड्रोजन तो तभी भी अटैच्ड है ना टू द सेम मॉलिक्यूल. सो ये जो एनर्जी लेवल है, व्हाट हैपेंस, the N3 and the N1 population becomes same, and the N2 and N4 population of protons becomes same. So N1 का population थोड़ा ऊपर चला जाता है, थोड़ा इसका एनर्जी लेवल ऊपर चला जाता है, और N3 का नीचे आ जाता है. It becomes degenerate levels. ये तो समझ में आता है degenerate levels मतलब?
Yes.
दोनों का एनर्जी सेम है ना? If you ever forget what is degenerate, go back and remember the energy diagram of molecular orbital of benzene. ठीक है, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So the degenerate levels comes just in between. देखो carefully, ये B है, ये B plus delta है, इसके just बीचों बीच में है B plus delta by 2. अगेन ये दोनों इक्विलिब्रेट कर जाता है. द N4 एंड N2 जो प्रोटॉन का ट्रांजिशन था पहले, ये दोनों इक्वल हो जाएगा N2 एंड N4 का. सो दिस विल अगेन कम डाउन. ये जितना नीचे आएगा ये उतना ऊपर जाएगा, एंड दिस कम डाउन समवेयर इन बिटवीन, एंड द पॉपुलेशन इज नाउ अब रिलैक्सेशन के लिए जो एनर्जी डिफरेंस है वो एनर्जी डिफरेंस कम हो गया है, और कार्बन 13 is the only nucleus which is now getting excited and getting relaxed, what we are capable of observing. अब इसमें now the populations have been rearranged. B1 जो है वो B plus delta by 2 हो गया है, N2 जो है वो B minus delta by 2 हो गया है, N3 B plus delta by 2 हो गया है, and N4 B minus delta by 2 हो गया है. कोई ऊपर गया है तो कोई नीचे आया है. All four has not gone to the degenerate level. तो फिर तो कार्बन का भी ट्रांजिशन नहीं दिखेगा. यहाँ पे only we have eliminated the transitions of the proton. So now if I see the resonating nuclei, the number of resonating nuclei, so in that case again N3 minus N4 is delta, N1 minus N2 is delta. So क्या हुआ? कोई enhancement हुआ? नहीं. The total number of nuclei जो पहले रेजोनेट कर रहा था और जो टोटल नंबर ऑफ न्यूक्लियई अभी रेजोनेट कर रहा है, दोनों तो सेम है. ठीक है. So till now we have not observed any effect of enhancement. But see one thing, one proton relaxation हम और नहीं देख पा रहे हैं, and all we are seeing is relaxation of carbon, and this energy difference has gone down. So let's first try to also incorporate the relaxation pathway. So if we are incorporating the relaxation pathway, so let's consider that d number of carbon nuclei are getting relaxed. ये relaxation क्यों? You go back and let me go back to this point. The fifth point, on irradiation of protons, their transition becomes saturated. Means all levels will be having equivalent number of protons, giving no significant excess. And now you are talking about the carbon 13. Going back a little more, when there is irradiation, the carbon 13 senses this change and it tries to populate the ground state node. Okay, so the carbon 13 inherently it will start to bring some of its nuclei from N4 down to N1. तो उस effect से क्या होगा? The D number of nuclei starts coming down from N4 to N1. तो N4 का population कम होता जाएगा और N1 का population ज़्यादा होता जाएगा. Okay, so the same D number has increased in N1 and fallen down in N4. अब इसको calculate करो, the total number of resonating nuclei. So N3 minus N4, see, it is delta plus B, and N1 minus N2, it is delta plus D. So for both the cases, there is an increment in the carbon number of nuclei, and the number of resonating nuclei is directly proportional to the intensity. Okay, एक प्रोटॉन में अगर एक पर्टिकुलर मान लो कि केमिकल शिफ्ट में 2 रेजोनेटिंग प्रोटॉन है, उसका जो इंटेंसिटी होगा, और दूसरा केमिकल शिफ्ट में 3 प्रोटॉन्स है, तो उसका इंटेंसिटी रेशियो सेम है. The number of resonating nuclei is actually controlling the intensity. Okay, so this D factor results in the increment or the enhancement. See the NOE effect, the nuclear overhauser effect on the carbon because of the irradiated proton. Is it understandable?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, किसी को कोई डाउट है?
No, ma'am.
No, till now it is fine. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So the enhancement that we see in the carbon is due to irradiation of proton, and this is how the populations change or adjust themselves on the basis of irradiation and relaxation. ठीक है? Let me clear this off first. Okay. Now, what are we talking about the relaxation? What is relaxation? So in the Banwell, I do not know whether any of you have Banwell or not. There is a lot of details given regarding the relaxation processes. So relaxation, you have studied spectroscopic other methods as well. If you remember, when we first talked about the FID, the signal recording of NMR, तो क्या किया जाता है? Pulse को release किया जाता है, and then the pulse is shut down. After the pulse is shut down, all the excited nuclei, they start coming down, falling back to the ground state. Once they fall back to the ground state, the time required by this coming back of the nuclei, the relaxation time, each nuclei has a different relaxation time, and this is what is recorded as the free induction decay, the decay which goes down. So you have a high amplitude which falls down, and at the end of the recording, all the information of all the pulse decay is taken up. Okay, so this relaxation phenomena is extreme in space. Okay, so there are two types of relaxation: the spin relaxation from the excited state to the ground state. One is the spin lattice, the other is spin spin. Lattice मतलब क्या होता है? In a particular molecule, हम एक particular atom के बाद उसका nucleus का spin के बारे में we are discussing ना. So that molecule also has other atoms similar or other like proton अगर है तो carbon atoms होगा, carbon अगर record कर रहे तो proton atoms होगा, nitrogen है, oxygen है. So there are different other atoms which are attached जो हम record नहीं भी कर रहे होंगे. Okay. In the solution, we will be having a limit of the solvent molecules as well, and we'll also have the effect of the other molecules. एक molecule का एक atom को छोड़ के उस solution में तो और कई सारा molecules है. So all these effects will be there. So lattice is the entire environment. Okay. One is the spin lattice relaxation, which is given by the time t1. The other is spin relaxation, which is given by the time t2. Okay. In terms of the NOE, it is the spin lattice relaxation that we are talking about. See, I have just summarized this entire thing from Pavia. If you want, you can read that paragraph. You can also read the summarization. It's up to you. Okay, you shouldn't be finding a difficulty with my handwriting. But typing this entire thing anywhere, I didn't find it very much time. क्या कहते हैं अपना productive. Okay, so if you want, you can follow this or you can follow the book as well. So the spin lattice relaxation जो है, it is a longitudinal relaxation. Longitudinal मतलब in the same line as the magnetic field that we are using. So magnetic field जो है, अगर field का direction ऐसा है, which is splitting, the spin lattice relaxation will be just vertically down, ऊपर से नीचे, okay, in the same direction as the magnetic field. This relaxation results in loss of energy. क्योंकि excited state से ground state आएगा तो energy तो lose होगा. This energy is lost in terms of heat. अगर heat environment में जाता है तो आसपास में जो न्यूक्लियस है वो ज्यादा energized हो रहा है. Okay, so if one nucleus is losing its energy and heating the environment, the other nuclei in the environment is gaining some energy. उसका भी
Yes.
अपना motion बढ़ रहा है. Okay, this can be intramolecular relaxation, this can be intermolecular relaxation. Like I said, it can be atoms in that same molecule, intramolecular. It can be atoms in another molecule, which is intermolecular. So spin of an excited nucleus interacts with the spins of other magnetic nuclei in the same or nearby molecules. These interactions is what is going to help in transitions. तो जितना एक्साइटेड स्टेट से ग्राउंड स्टेट में जितना जल्दी जल्दी नीचे न्यूक्लियस आएगा उतना एनर्जी डिसिपेट होगा. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट दिस इज नॉट अ वेरी लॉन्ग रिकॉर्डिंग टाइम. एक कार्बन को हम 500 स्कैन देते हैं आई थिंक 15 to 20 मिनट्स में. ओके, 1000 स्कैन देते हैं वी टेक इट अराउंड 30 to 35 minutes. So in that time molecules has to the nuclei has to be excited, brought down, somebody else excited, brought down, because we have several scans to be taken up in that short period of time. Okay, ऐसा नहीं कि चलो धीरे धीरे गए फिर धीरे धीरे वापस आए. हाँ ठीक है, बाकी लोग heated. So the heat production or the generation is very important for all the nuclei to participate in that process. Okay, now the induced spin transitions and spin exchanges is what helps somebody else. Proton में ये relaxation बहुत जल्दी है. The relaxation time is very small, the T1. Faster the relaxation, the T1 is smaller. ठीक है, the time taken for relaxation is smaller. तो जितना कम time में वो relax होके वापस आ जाएगा, इसका मतलब है उसके environment उतना जल्दी heated up होगा. So the number of protons attached to the carbon directly implements that the carbon nuclei would be now very fast interacting for the NMR excitations, for the resonance. Okay, so the protons are responsible for the spin lattice relaxation. So whenever we want to study whether kitna proton attached hai carbon ke sath and all these theoretical or experimental measures, they are precisely targeted at the spin lattice relaxation time or the T1. The other is the spin relaxation time. This is a transverse relaxation phenomenon. It does not produce any heat. It is the entropy factor. Okay, and always nature wants or environment wants to increase the entropy. But this spin relaxation has very little contribution. इसका especially the carbon 13 का T2 का contribution बहुत कम है. Okay, so we in general it is the T1 which is much longer for 13C. So proton का importance उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा है, and we mostly look into the T1 factor, and the spin relaxation time in this context it is less important. So the T2 is also factors, but it is not an important factor in terms of the spectral understanding, structure determination. Okay, whatever information we get from T1, that is good enough. Understanding of NOE, how do we get the NOE? What is the exact contribution of proton to give the NOE or the nuclear overhauser effect? Enhancement kaise hota hai? How that transition? Please be practice this portion. ये slide बहुत अच्छे से ये दोनों slide understand what is going on. Okay, I will be sharing this entire PPT in your Google Drive so that you can download the PPT. अभी तक मैंने किया नहीं है. I'll just share it after this class is done. Okay, कितने लोग इससे पहले पढ़े थे जब मैंने बोला था कि बुक पढ़ो?
पढ़ा था ना.
समझ में आया था?
एंड वो डेल्टा वाला वैल्यू में फिर आगे सेकंड पार्ट समझ नहीं आया.
अभी समझ में आया है?
यस मैम.
ओके, सो वर्क इट आउट. खुद अपना लिख के ये ट्रांजिशंस की कैसे वो होता है और डी कहाँ से आया एंड ऑल दीज थिंग्स. राइट इट प्रॉपर्ली. आई हैव रिटन इट एज मच एज पॉसिबल टू मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये डी फैक्टर क्या है एंड व्हाई इट इज बीइंग इनकॉर्पोरेटेड ओवर हियर. सो if you have any problem again, जो जिसका भी जो query है, you can just write it in the mail and send it to me. ठीक है? So I will try to incorporate it further in the slide or give it to you in a different manner. Okay?
ओके.
और का कोई query है? नहीं है? Okay then, ये मैं send कर देती हूँ. You we will go through it. If you have any problems, you can just let me know. And इसके आगे में the next thing which is for us to discuss, it is the two-dimensional NMR. The two-dimensional NMR के लिए I think I would like to have a discussion on Saturday अगर possible है तो. It can be in the morning as well, like 11 से 12 या something like that. I have no problem. It is in the morning. तो I'll let you know. तो उसके लिए एक चीज सबको करना है. Whatever the time is set, एक कागज और पेंसिल लेके सबको बैठना है. ठीक है? White page and pencil. That is mandatory for everyone. 2D सीखना है. अगर स्केल है आपके सामने में तो बेटर है. अगर सीखना है properly, then that is what is required. Okay? So I will share this. I will also share कि 2D का जो introduction portion है, which is like the textual matter. That also I will share, and कुछ spectra जो हम 2D देखने के टाइम पे, ये read करने के टाइम पे, we will referring to the spectra. ठीक है? So let's see. Can we meet on Saturday morning?
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है? Saturday morning would be our next meeting. So till then I'll send this. Jyotish, I received your mail, and उसके अलावा किसी का अभी तक आया नहीं है. So let's see. इसको पढ़ो. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can ask me on Saturday as well. ठीक है?
Yes.
Okay. So can we stop today?
ओके मैम.
Okay. ठीक है. Thank you.
थैंक यू मैम.